start off with the consensus team. Anyone from the core and app side?
Yep, Calvin and I are here.
Awesome. And Virtual, I believe. Strangelove, anyone from Strangelove? Anyone from IBC team?
I'm here. Susanna.
Welcome. Anyone from Binary Builders?
Hello.
Hello. Informal? Moving on to the DA side, anyone from Celestia Node?
Renee.
Ronan's here too.
Welcome, welcome. Anyone from either team? No. Okay, so we can move on to the working group updates, but I don't know if Ismail's on the call, because I believe he has an update he wants to share, but in the meantime, we don't have to go over these updates till later. I think there's been status updates for the CIPs. Rutul, you want to kick off all the updates from the last 2 weeks happening for Lemongrass Hardfork?
Yeah, so do this. So what I wanted to call out is SIP 10, 14, and 20 all got like progressed forward. 10, Callum, you wrote.
Yeah, it's the network coordinated network upgrades.
Yep.
Moving into the last call.
As far as I can tell, there hasn't been like a whole lot of contention on the discussion on this for a while, so it seems appropriate to move this to last call. SIP 14 was ICA, I believe, so interchain accounts. That one also hasn't had a whole lot of discussion recently. Seems relatively stable, safe to move to last call. And then 20 is disable blob stream, which we just kind of brought up last all core devs. So I moved that to review. Yeah, those are like the 3 updates.
Okay, it sounds like, okay, for the last call for both 14 and 10 is May 7th. So there's still another week before we move them to final. I think we can, keep it as is if there's hadn't been any updates so far, and we'll move it to final on the 7th. Would that be okay? Unless today's the 7th and I'm not aware.
No, that sounds good. I when I moved them, I just looked 2 weeks ahead of schedule from that day, if that's the practice that we're going to follow.
Oh yeah, 2 weeks is fine. Okay, so we have another week, and then I think for now we can create a draft pull request for both of them. But we only merge it. We move it from draft to I guess a regular PR by the date of the 7th of May, and then we can merge it. There's been any kind of feedback or updates on the proposals. Moving to 20. On 20, it's the disable. Can you remind me? It was in last call moved back to review. Or what happened over there?
I think it was just in draft, honestly, because I didn't finish before last call. But then I filled out the like security consideration section and then moved it to review.
Okay, testing cases, security consideration. Okay, that sounds good. Are you guys comfortable moving it to last call, or what do you need more review on it from the rest of the core devs?
Definitely open to feedback. Implementation wise, we've kind of like already done most of this. There's like one very lingering piece related to the blob stream params, but it shouldn't be like super relevant for this SIP. Yeah. So
Okay.
if there isn't any feedback, I can move it into last call with a 2 week from now timeline.
Okay, that sounds good. I mean, even if we move it to last call, people can still give feedback anyways if there's anything concerning about it. But it sounds like, okay, the 10 and 13, we'll update them to the May 7th, and this one we can create a last call on it. But considering if there's any rough consensus from the core devs, so maybe we can do a vibe check from the core devs on the core and app team and others if you guys want to if we're okay to move it to last call with a 2-week review period. Oh, look at that. I got balloon here.
I'm good with that.
All right, sweet. So this will be a note for the CIP editor. We're going to update the CIP 20 with a deadline of, let me just double check because I'm really bad with days. The deadline will be on the 14th of May, last call deadline. So we can do this after the call, and that should be okay. Is there anything else? I mean, we can talk about the DA working group in a bit, but is there any other thing that we need to cover on the CIP statuses, at least in relation to the lemongrass hard fork?
I think for now, that's all I wanted to cover. There's definitely a little bit lingering on like the min fee SIP that we still need to kind of reach rough consensus on, but we can handle that offline and then come back next call.
Sounds good. And the other thing is, there were other CIPs that are in consideration for, if I'm not mistaken, for audits, right?
For
Yeah,
X,
there's
go ahead.
we have two CIPs that are currently being audited right now. So the PFM is scheduled, and then for RIM, we're ready to submit a governance proposal, and we have Zelic has offered to set like a rough price, and they're okay with accepting TIA. So as soon as we get an address from them that's like verified publicly, we can submit a governance proposal that sends so much TIA over to them for the audit, both the PFM and RIM.
Okay, one feedback I have on any kind of governance proposal that hits the community stuff, I don't think that's specified under the CIP process. I think that should be more like a governance related, on-chain governance related topic that we can use the forum, but we don't really have to use the call to discuss it unless you guys want to.
Yeah,
'Cause
no,
currently,
definitely not that we don't have to discuss like the governance proposal and stuff. This is just like an update on like getting those CIPs audited.
okay, that sounds good. In that case, I think we're good. I think the final thing to talk about is there've been updates and a lot of moving parts on the DA working group. I think Ismail had some updates that he wanted to share.
Yeah, sure. And mostly, so my update is mostly about the interface working group, not about the DA working group necessarily.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So, the interface working group has been pretty dormant for a few months, and the plan is to revive that. So, there will be a call in like maybe next week or in the next few weeks for sure. And one outcome of this like call will be that I'll be co-chairing together with Josh from Austria. I'll be co-chairing the interface working group call, and the goal is to get like clean and pleasant to use and like with great DevUX canonical API out of the door sooner than later. Yeah, we feel like the current API was great for at the time, but like now that we have actually more and more user feedback on its shortcomings, we want to iterate on it and like improve it significantly. So if you have any inputs on the API, like either if it's a current API or the like how you think the ideal API should look like, please reach out like on GitHub or via Discord, or join the working group call that will be announced soon. I think that's it. Like that's the update. So like one like what the strategy currently is, like first of all, we're gonna define the scope of what the API should be, like in a very idealized like abstract way without going into details between discussions of like which serialization format or like gRPC versus JSON RPC. Like first of all, we just cleanly specify like what is the exposed API, what's the behavior that one can expect in a very simple language, and then we go into like, okay, what what should we use in terms of like IDL, and then also rework the implementation from there.
Sounds good. I'm gonna post if I'll post any information on the current CDC working group on Telegram. If anyone wants to join the interface working group call for next week, you can reach out to us even on the Telegram. I'll post a reminder for everyone, and then we can add you to the interface working group for next week. And I think the outcome, Ismail, is there will be some like CIP for the specification of the initial API that will go through a review process and feedback from anyone who's utilizing the API itself from our users. All right. I think that's about it. Is there anything that anyone wants to cover that hasn't been covered, given there are a bunch of folks here? Could we still have enough time? Otherwise, we can end the call. But
Just like to bring up, following on from what Ismail just announced, seeing Ismail's going to step in and co-chair the interface working group. I asked Clib to come over and co-chair the DA working group with me. So going forward, he'll be co-chair of that, and we'll rekindle that going forward. So that'll be a good thing.
sounds good. Okay. Anyone else had anything they want to talk about? Existing CIP, new CIP, anything? Going once, going twice. All right. I think this is it for today. Short and sweet, 16 minutes. Sweet 16. And yeah, thank you all for coming to another call. We're gonna have another call. We're gonna book it for 2 weeks from now. The reason we haven't booked it for Wednesday, like tomorrow, is because tomorrow, from what I understand, is a national holiday, but for 2 weeks from now, it'll be on a Wednesday. And yeah, we'll catch you guys again on the next call. And if you guys have any updates for your CIPs or anything like that, just comment on the forum, follow up, and the outcome of this call, CIP 13 and 10 will go to last call on May 7, and then the other CIP 20, is it? I think CIP 20 will go to last call with a end date on May 14th. With that said, thank you everyone, and have a good, wonderful Tuesday.
Bye all.
Thank you.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Bye bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.